back. I was sitting around thinking, well, that's dangerous, Susie. And I hear so many stories about the internet, our young children committing suicide for bullying through the internet. And I said to myself, I'm wondering if the laws are keeping up with internet bullying, and cyberbullying is what they call it. So I got on the phone and got a hold of a fantastic attorney, and we're going to have a little talk. So please make welcome for the first time to the show, everybody, Scot Ganow, coming right up here. Hey, ho. How you doing, Scott?
Well, thank you.
How you
doing?
doing?
Appreciate it.
What is the name of your law firm, Scott?
Faruqi, Ireland and Cox.
Faruqi?
Faruqi, Ireland and Cox. We have an office here in Dayton where I practice, and also an office in Cincinnati. And I have to say that I'm here on my own. My opinions are on my own, and they're not the opinions of my employer.
Not the opinions of those that are responsible for this
Got to have a
broadcast.
disclaimer, the attorney right up front. I got to do this thing those things.
And I have to apologize to you. His last name is spelled G-N-O-W, and I had it wrong. And Bob will say, I asked you before if that was spelled right, and you said it was, and I thought it was. And well, I'm getting old, everybody, and I have some-timers. Sometimes I remember, and sometimes I don't. So we had a good conversation on the phone, Scott, and in your opinion, are the laws getting there? Are they there? Or it's going to take some time to get there?
Well, I get this question a lot with my practice because it deals with privacy law and information security. And I do think it's relevant that technology is changing, and there are some things that are truly different that we haven't seen before that the laws have to address. But at the same time, and I think this is the case with cyberbullying, there are laws on the books that address the behavior, because that's what we're talking about. It's the behavior that's the issue. The difference is the context in which it's happening, online as opposed to offline or in the real world. So I think the laws have moved relatively quickly considering the offenses that are under consideration. I think the challenges are appropriately categorizing them. And for example, cyberbullying or any type of online harassment involves speech. And as all of us know, our speech in the United States is protected by the First Amendment. So any legislator who's trying to put together a law to address cyberbullying specifically, or any type of online behavior, whatever it might be, has a pretty high bar to clear if they're trying to regulate any type of speech. The courts are very clear that if you're going to regulate speech, or if you're going to discipline or punish for speech or expression, a very high standard has to be met. Sure. So from the beginning when they're making a law, and many laws have been attempted to be drafted, that's a high hurdle to clear. And we see that in the case law as well. When cases are being litigated with respect to cyberbullying or online harassment, free speech is very much the first thing that's brought up as a defense, and it's something that has to be overcome. And I think we'd all agree that is important to be protected, and we're seeing that in the case in Florida right now, where the girl unfortunately leapt to her death as a result of cyberbullying, or allegedly as a cyberbullying by two young girls. It's a very interesting case because the charges are involving cyber stalking, which is a little bit different, and a lot of the experts in the space are watching that case very clearly, because it would be interesting to see if they're successful in, one, establishing such charges against minors, and two, again, overcoming the free speech defense that's there. So that case is very interesting for a lot of folks to watch, because, as I said, the laws are on the books. The question is a matter of enforcement. And as I was sharing, interestingly, or maybe uniquely to cyberbullying, is schools, where kids spend a lot of their time. Those are places where a lot of states have drafted laws to empower school districts to enforce or discipline for cyberbullying. But again, the Constitution comes into play, and schools are only limited to the extent it's involved with schools. If a boy is bullying another boy on a playground, that's easy enough to say. That's on school property. A school can step in and deal. But what do you do if it's at a coffee shop two blocks down, or at home? It's a different environment. And so schools are unfortunately having to struggle with the same balance of free speech and trying to manage kids' behavior as it impacts school, if it actually impacts behavior. which turns then to parents. And constitutionally, parents also have a right to raise their kids and the way they want to, and to discipline them accordingly. It's protected by the 14th Amendment. And the interesting focus there is, again, schools trying to balance their interests and the interests of the parents. And so a lot of times, especially when I talk about laws that involve privacy, the laws are remedial. The laws are there to deal with the issues after they've happened. Anything dealing with the internet, quite frankly, and this is especially true with cyberbullying, it's still going to come down to parenting. It's still going to come down to parents understanding what their kids are doing online, where they're going online, and as uncomfortable and as unpopular as that is for parents to do with teenagers, that's the reality of the situation. The same way you would take interest as to what's going on outside the house or down the street, you have to take that interest as to what's going on with online behavior. So the law is a remedy, the law is available, and I think it will continue to evolve. But we always encourage folks to remember their own role in it, whether it's protecting your own privacy or teaching your kids that way, to get involved, understand what they're doing and the ways with which they're going about it, and educate them. Because a lot of times, and a lot of studies have shown this, teenagers or even younger kids don't think it's real. They don't see the bullying as real because it's not in front of me. I don't see the person crying. I don't see the person suffering from what I'm doing. And if I can't see it, it can't be real. I know adults struggle with that sometimes. And so education and awareness in the household and in the schools is a big part of trying to help kids understand and hopefully not commit the act in the first place. And I think we'll see, at least at the legal level, case law evolve and ultimately potentially the Supreme Court have to take up the matter, because it's a big issue balancing free speech and the rights of kids.
And the parents who has a child that has committed suicides, they first thing they want to do is sue. That's the first thing that they think of.
Right, and it's a traumatic, horribly sad thing. It's a horribly sad thing, but the thing we remember is speech, as mean as it can be, as vindictive as it can be, is still protected to some degree. And there are so many factors. This is something we were talking about earlier with cases. Every case is unique. The facts are specific. And I know that's a cliche with lawyers to come back to, but it really is true. The factors in every case, the people involved, the person who commits suicide, there's so many factors involved in these cases. It isn't just a matter often of the words being said or the manner in which they're being sent. There's just a lot of factors, and that's where courts have to take in all those facts, and they do, to try to make the best decisions there. And legislators hopefully can follow that and see if they can address the behavior without, unfortunately, burdening the speech.
Do you think the schools will get involved in actually teaching about
I think the schools already. I don't know.
They
are. They're doing a great job,
Great.
and if they're unfairly, and I think, in my opinion, saddled with so many responsibilities. This part of it, I think, is really a parental responsibility. We saw the sheriff in Florida speak out to this degree. Schools can only do so much, and again, in the cyber environment, school is just one part of that. And really, there's so much time they spend outside of school, and just merely because two students go to the same school surely doesn't put the responsibility in the school's hands.
Right.
So as with anything at this age, education, awareness, follow-up, it's true with cyberbullying as it is with anything we try to teach kids.
That pretty much sums it up, yeah.
I think so,
All right,
yeah.
thanks for coming, Scott.
Absolutely, thank you.
You know your stuff, buddy.
Glad to be here, thank you.
Well,